Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to another episode of Men on Fire here on Soul Mechanic TV and Soul Mechanic Radio. Now, today I'm going to attempt to answer a question I get asked quite a bit by many of my coaching clients and even friends and relatives and people I'm running into. And that is, how do I get a person or someone else to change? Because Lord knows there's nothing wrong with us, right? We never need to change. We always are attempting to get other people to change or see our point of view, which, is pretty natural. So I get asked that a lot. And how do we get our spouses, our parents, our coworkers, our bosses, our teachers, whoever that happens to be, to change? And we just wish others would act differently. And how can we inspire that change? Because that's all you can do. You cannot change for them, and you cannot be the one who changes. They have to change themselves. So realize this right from the start, that the cards are already stacked against you in order to get somebody to change and act the way that you want them to, which sometimes is just a part of your ego. And you have to recognize that too. So there is, however, a process, or 4 doors, I call it, that you can open to help facilitate change. And you can never force it on someone, because they have to do the changing, not you, as we just discussed, right? So they have to do the changing, so you can't force them into it. And I think in many relationships, especially in your spouses, when you try to force them to do something, or when you nag your spouse or yell at your spouse to do this and do that, many times, especially if you're yelling at a man, they just shrink up and go into a ball, and they're not even listening anymore, because they don't want to be forced to do something. There's that authority figure thing that they just can't do it, because, well, men are wired differently than women, and we generally are loners, and that's okay. We'll go off and be alone and sulk somewhere, and maybe we'll take some of what you said to heart, and maybe not. So it's never in the best interest to yell at someone, try to destabilize them, blame them for things, if you would like them to change. So here are the 4 doors that I see that you will be able to use to change, or help change come into someone else's life. And also, you'll also discover that you can change some of your desires in your life as well. So the first big door you can use or walk through is awareness. Make them aware of their behavior. Is it constructive behavior, or is it destructive behavior? Having a glass of wine after dinner could be, while relaxing, could be a fine constructive behavior. 6 glasses of wine might be a destructive behavior. I know many of you are saying, well, that's not that destructive. But over time, it can be, and it takes you out of the loop of communication many times. So you have to see if they're aware of the actual behavior they're putting out there. They may not be. So that is an issue too. And also, you can be the other thing you can do is be a mirror for them. So you could actually engage in the behavior that you would like them to do, right? I mean, you can't sit there and drink 6 glasses of wine when you want them to cut down to 1. That doesn't work. So be the mirror, be the reflection of what you want them to see. They need to see that in you, see those qualities in you. And
you can't force it. You can't blame them for things, and then you act differently too, right? We see that so much with in parenting with children. Well, just do this because I'm telling you to do it. So do as I say, not as I do, right? So make them aware that there's an alternative path. They don't have to keep doing what they're doing. There's another path that they could follow. And this goes to something a little bit deeper, and that's the awareness of their self. So their self-awareness. Many people aren't aware of their self-awareness. They're just figure they're, meat suits walking through life and doing whatever we're supposed to do, right? Get married, have kids and cars and retire or whatever, and attempt to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak. So they're not aware of where they actually came from, who they really are, how powerful they can actually be, that they can create and manifest anything they want in their life. And I won't get into that here, but that goes in to some of the things I've talked about before, but also to many of my coaching programs and courses that we offer here at Infinite Success Academy. But they have to be made aware of themselves, and a person will truly never have lasting and true change unless they become aware of who they really are and aware of themselves. So they have to raise their self-awareness somehow. And of course, as you probably already noticed, this is also a project for you. You're the one who wants them to change or help them change. This becomes a project for you too. They can't do it alone. So it's not just, give them a bunch of information or yell at them and walk away and hope they change, because that never works. The second door you can walk through, big door you can walk through to help someone else change, is acceptance. And accept the way they are. They have to realize that they are 100% responsible for everything that happens in their lives, as you are, as we all are. So they have to accept themselves. They have to accept their behavior. You can't force them by berating them or yelling at them, as we mentioned before. I mean, that may happen in a high school football coach or a little league baseball team or a house league hockey team or whatever have you. That might work there. That's just a real simple form of motivation, but it's not inspiration. And that's what we're after here. It's inspiration. You need to inspire them to change. So you need to meet them halfway and accept where they are and say, well, okay, I understand what you're doing, and I don't really know why, but I understand that you're doing that. Now, can we start to discuss how we could change that, or maybe, to get into a dialogue, because you can't help them unless you can communicate, and they need to communicate back to you. So they need to feel safe. So you have to tell them, I love you. I support you. Be there for them. And you need to accept it and understand them. And kindness and empathy go so long and good here. And they can be your greatest asset. You need for them to communicate with you, and you can communicate with them. And this, then, once the communication starts, is where the magic happens. That's when you start to get some dialogue, and they discuss things that are bothering them. And you're able to not just jump in and provide solutions. Well, you should have done this, or should have done that. I would have told you a month ago. Just relax, tone it down, slow it down. Only acceptance, kindness, and empathy. They have to feel safe. If they don't feel safe, they're never going to communicate with you. They just won't. So they have to be in a good place. So the third door that you could walk through to help them change is accountability. So when people realize their role in things, that they actually have a role, because you're starting to communicate with them now, right? then they may want to adopt new behaviors, constructive behaviors. Now, a quick little story. My wife, I mean, many of you know me as an author, a speaker, and coach. But there's times, or there certainly were times earlier, that I had a hard time with even motivating myself. Sometimes, right? You get down on yourself. You're not quite sure of yourself. Is this really going to work? I'm not sure how to figure things out. Sometimes there's even problems with technology to figure everything out. It's not an easy goal all the time. So my wife and I share many dreams together, and they're the same dreams. And what I would say to myself when I got down and lacked motivation was that, it's up to me to live up to my end of the bargain to help us attain those dreams. And if I did nothing but wallow in my sorrows or my difficulties, whatever that is, then nothing would help or work for me. So I had to be personally accountable in order to start moving forward again. So I must be the person to shift and change then in that regard, right? So in this case, you might be able to get them to share their goals with you. I mean, they may not open up that much, but once the communication starts, which we talked about with acceptance, and you keep that kindness and empathy rolling, they may open up to you and tell you, like, just a small goal even. And you need to be the change with them. So if, let's say, just use for example, you want to change your diet, you want to lose a little bit of weight, maybe you should do that with them. Maybe drink less, or take up exercise, running, going to the gym, whatever that is. Maybe you can do that with them. That goes back to the mirroring we talked about, right? So if you want people to change, you are a huge part of this, okay? You just can't say something and walk away, because nothing will happen. And then we get into the fourth big door you can open up, and that is action. And helping people get momentum again in their life, right? Once we start rolling, it's so much easier. We just get out of the easy chair and start moving, and suddenly, cutting the lawn wasn't so bad. I got it done, and now I can relax again. It's small actions. And many times, I get my coaching clients to think of 3 things that they would want to accomplish that day. And I don't care if you're, whether you're depressed and down and out, or you're the CEO of a major multi-billion-dollar company. This will help you focus on your day. So normally the evening before is what I tell my clients to, is make a list of 3 things that you must complete by the end of the next day. And for some folks, it could be some complex items. For others, it could be getting out of bed, taking a shower, feeding yourself, just getting some fuel into the body. The brain needs glucose. The brain needs fuel to think clearly, gain some clarity. And how much better would you feel if you were able to get up, move around, get cleaned up in a shower, and actually ate something? Maybe you could make another good decision that day too. But if that's the 3 things you need to accomplish, until you can latch on to other things, that you change your list, keep your list, your 3 things, always keep that list. They just change the items. Every day it becomes different. And you'll find that list grows into much more important things that you would really want to accomplish. And you just keep doing that every day. As long as you get those 3 things done, you're a success. You can now start talking to yourself that I am successful. I'm not unsuccessful, because it's those things you do, you get done every day. You've proven to yourself that you can do it. You're a success. And this brings out your natural desire to do more. And this is part of the action. As Einstein said, nothing happens until something moves. So you've got to get up and move and get going. If they don't know what to do, make them a quick checklist, maybe a plan, help them out with something, or make a list of those 3 things, right? Tomorrow, make your bed, have a shower, have something to eat. Whatever how simplistic it is or how complex it is up to you, and will be up to them as they accept this action, accountability, acceptance, and awareness program. And they will be more willing to change once they start this process. But if all you do is yell at them and blame them and tell them how useless they are, it's not going to work. You'll never get anybody to change. And you have to follow these steps, and they have to do the change themselves from within, not from without. The change is not outside of them. The change is inside of them, and they have to be made aware of that. They must change the awareness of themselves to truly make a change in themselves. So you need to help them help themselves. And what I like to call it is you're giving themselves back to themselves. And what a beautiful gift that would be for them. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope you got something out of our discussion, and maybe you'll help someone make a huge change in their lives, or maybe just a itty bitty change to get them moving. Thank you again for listening, and I look forward to talking to you again very, very soon. Bye for now.